So I think, what happens is when people understand each other, a little bit better, things will always run smoother. And when you can see the guys come through the building, you see them in terms of how they, are reacting, their attitude, and how they, stop in anytime. That they understand exactly what you're trying to do and what you, want from them.
After all the success you had at UConn in your previous stop, how surprising was it to you, the rough time last year?
Well, again, you never know. You never know what's going to happen until you get involved. I mean, there's a lot of things that sometimes you look at can look one way, on the outside, but until you get on the inside, or until you get to know it a little bit better, you're going to have some trying times. And the thing that I like about it is the fact is that sometimes you have to take 2 steps back, to move forward. And in terms of having the kind of program that I want to have, that's going to stand the test of time, and it's going to be fight through those issues. You got to sometimes have some of those things that we had in order to get where you want to get to.
Randy, different topic. What was your reaction to the Penn State penalties today, and will you guys go after any Penn State players if they choose to transfer?
Well, I think first and foremost for me is just the the tragedy of it all. And the victims, of the child abuse. That's just hard to fathom. But going forward, right now there's things out there, but we've got to step back and take a look and just see, because I think there's still some uncertainty as to how the procedures are going forward. What the NCAA is going to allow in terms of with initial counters, with you at 85, and if you're going to be able to take more than 85. So there's still just a lot of uncertainty there, and then until I have that information, then we'll see how we proceed from there.
How big is it that a major player is really going to be considerably weakened in the D.C. metro area, being with Penn State sanctions and your ability to recruit there?
Again, like I said, it's a very tragic situation for a lot of people involved. But again, the one thing, from us is that Maryland and D.C. is an area that's very important to us, and I stated when I got there we wanted to try to keep all the kids that fit what we were looking for, at home. And really that, when I talk about that area, I mean I talk about Pennsylvania there as well, and Northern Virginia, and again. We'll just have to see how it all plays out, But in essence, when you look at those sanctions, numbers-wise, they've become an FCS school.
In that respect of keeping players around the area, how satisfied are you with the recruiting class that you're bringing in?
I'm extremely excited about the class that we brought in. I mean, it was ranked in the top 35, and like I said, in terms of the number of kids that we got from Maryland and D.C., and then you take a look even in Pittsburgh and South Central Pennsylvania, and which is areas that we want to target. I feel good about it. I feel good about how we've started this recruiting cycle off as well. And I think if you're going to be successful at this level, you've got to be able to have success recruiting in your home area and in your backyards around your home area.
Could you
Has there already been some communication with kids up at Penn State, or is that you feel like that'll come?
That'll be something that you know is you know, as I continue to talk to my staff and everything. It's pretty hard to talk to anybody today with everything we got going on here.
Kevin was saying, go ahead.
What was it like for you personally in the off season after a season like last year? You've been through a couple of tough ones in Connecticut too. But what's, I mean, do you look back and you wonder, am I doing the right things? Any self doubts?
No, I never, you know, I never doubted, you know, what we wanted to put in place in terms of, you know, the program. And again, I just think that, you know, there was things that we were doing, and of course, you know, 2-10 is not what we want. We were extremely disappointed, you know, in that. But again, you know, you got to judge a program on the totality of what a program is, to me, is supposed to be. And there's going to be times where you might not be in football. You might not be able to satisfy everything in 1 year when you're trying to do the things that you want to do. So, you know, I never doubted anything, and I thought that, you know, as we continued, you know, with the off season, and when we had, you know, the recruiting class that we had, and the comments that, you know, the recruits were talking about in terms of, and their parents about, you know, coming and playing at Maryland, and in terms of the kind of program that we were running. I think, you know, that was something that, you know, was what we expect, because those are the kind of kids that we want. And then when you see having the ability to hire Mike Loxley and Brian Stewart as 2 new coordinators because of, you know, we weren't getting done what I wanted to get done, and we made those decisions. And then you see, you know, what transpired in an off-season program, and you see what's transpired in, you know, spring practice, and you see the energy and the enthusiasm. You see the things that happened in the classroom. You know, with our players, you know, you see the you know, donors getting behind us and putting a new, you know, turf field in at Bird Stadium. I mean, there's so many, you know, positive things, you know, happening. The numbers at our you know, at our summer camps this year, you know, were up. The number of commitments we have already, you know, so, you know, we got to be, you know, the people that we have to have in order to make our program successful are seeing exactly what we're doing and want to be a part of it. And I think that's as great a statement that can be made about, you know, what's happening at College Park and, you know, what's happening with our football program.
Did it make you reassess at all, you know, whether, you know, the style, my style of dealing with players, maybe I should work on that, or dealing with the media, or did it make you not second guess, but evaluate yourself and say, well, I need to change this, I need to soften this part of me, or that kind of thing?
You know, Mark, you know, I never really took a look at that, because the only thing that in our program is all about making the young people the best they can be in the classroom, on the field, and as people. And if asking those young people to go to class, do the things that their professors are asking them to do, or do the things that their parents would want them to do, and to know that I've gone into their home and I've said to the parents, here's exactly what we're going to do, I didn't have to reassess that, because all I was doing is doing the things that pretty much every parent would want for their child. And, you know, I become the parent away from home. So if I'm not doing those things, then I'm going to fail as a parent, as a coach, as a mentor. You know, so no, I didn't have to reassess that. And when you talk about with the media, you know, Patrick's covered me all year. I don't think I've ever offended Patrick. He might not like some of the things I had to say sometimes, you know, and I might not agree with some of the things that he wrote sometimes. I think that's all part of, what we do.
You're the one on the spot here, not me.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot. But no, I mean, all I've been trying to do is be consistent, with our message and with what our program, was all about. And if there's people that perceive it otherwise, I can't, but I think the proof is in the pudding with what we've been able to do recruiting, what we've been able to do academically. And you know what? Sometimes what happens on the field might be the last part of the story. Okay? I hope it isn't, but sometimes that happens. Okay? So now I'm excited about the direction and where we're going and what we're doing and we're just going to continue to do it.
Is haters going to hate, basically, your point?
Huh?
Is your point basically that haters are going to do whatever you do?
Never going to please everybody. It's like I tell the players when I go into their home, you might not always like what I have to say, but I'm going to tell you the truth. And I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like the truth. And, I can't apologize for that.